Hi, and welcome back. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to set up a quick and easy and really effective first-person character. So I'm going to start off with my cube, and you can see that I have a very simple environment set up so that I can explore it once I have my first-person character set up. Okay, I'm going to take my cube, and I'm going to start off by giving it some physics. So I'm going to come over here to the far right, select physics, change the physics types from static to character. I'm going to turn on collision bounds and make sure that it says box. So now when I press play, character drops. Okay. Now I'm going to go to add sensor. It's going to be a mouse sensor, and I'm going to change the mouse event to movement so that way it tracks the left and right movement of my mouse. I'll go ahead and rename my mouse sensor, and this is going to have my character turn left and right. And I'll collapse that. Okay, I'll add an actuator, and that's also going to be a mouse. And I'm going to wire those together so I don't forget. And for here, I'm going to change the mode to look. And for mouse look, you'll notice that it only says use X and use Y axis. There's no Z axis, and that's because for the mouse as a device, it only has two axes. It has the X axis, which is left and right, and of course the mouse can move up and down, and that's the Y axis. So for turning the cube left and right, I only want to use the X axis. So I'm going to turn off the Y axis by clicking on it up there. Alright, now I'll go ahead and rename this. And if I test it out and move my mouse left, move my mouse right, you can see that it's turning just fine. If you want to change the speed of how fast the mouse turns, you can come down here and you can adjust the sensitivity. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and collapse that. Okay, so now I'm going to set up the looking up and down, and that is done with the camera. So you want to make sure that the camera is looking in the same y-axis that the cube is looking, and so it's positive y-axis. Now by default, your camera is going to be rotated at some weird angle like that. So I would suggest selecting the camera, press Option R, and that resets the rotation on the camera, so it's pointing down. Now I want to press R and then figure out what axis you want to rotate on. For me, it's the X-axis. And for the camera, you always want the arrow here pointing upwards. That's pointing to the positive Z. Okay, so now that I've done that, now I want to move the camera into place. And just a bit of advice, never put your camera actually inside your mesh. You won't be able to see anything. So something like that, maybe a little bit higher. Okay, so I think that's pretty good. Okay, and to do this much quicker, what I would normally do is I would normally press numpad 7, and so I would go into a top view so I could really look at the camera from the top view, and then I'd press numpad 3 or numpad 1 and view the cube from the side view and the front view, just so you could take a look at that. But right now I'm on my laptop, and I don't have it set up. I don't have it set up for a numpad, which laptops don't have. Okay, moving on. Setting up the camera. Okay, so this was previously, there we go. Okay, so now I want to go to add sensor, and it's going to be, again, a mouse sensor. It's going to be movement. This is going to be look up down, do a mouse actuator, wire them together. This will also be look up, down. Change the mode from visibility to look. And this time, since I want the mouse to look up and down, I want it to use the y-axis of the mouse, not the x-axis. So I'm just going to disable that. Okay, and if I go ahead and test this, oops, I need to do numpad 0. And so if I now press play, you'll see that I can do the mouse up and down, and I can see that shape in the future, or I can see that object in the front there, and it's working just fine. Okay, so now I need to connect the camera to the cube, so that's called parenting. So what you do first is you right-click and select the child object first, which I know sounds backwards. Then you shift right-click and you select the parent, so you have to select both objects. Then you're going to press Control P, and when you press Control P, you're going to say set parent to, and you're going to choose object, the very first one. You now see a little dashed line going from the camera to the cube. And to test this, you'll see that I can select the camera, and I can press G, and I can move the child around independently. But if I select the parent and press G, notice that the child object, the camera, comes with me. Okay, so that's good. Now I need to make the cube be able to move forward. So I'm going to add a keyboard controller. Call this one W. Now again, you can use arrow keys if you want. And this one's going to be a motion actuator this time. Wire it up. And this one's going to move my character forward. And this time, because my player is a character physics type, you want to make sure that you set the motion type from simple motion to character motion. And when I do that, let's see, I'm going to move on the y-axis, and I will tell you from experience that if you choose a number like 1, you'll see that your character moves incredibly fast. So I found a good number like, I found 0.15 works quite nicely. What you'll also notice is that with character motion, compared to say dynamic motion or rigid body, is that there's no sliding. But it feels a little different than simple motion. So it doesn't just stop on a dime, which is really nice. So I think character motion is the way that you're going to like the best. Okay, let's finish up with a jump. Okay, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do another keyboard sensor, and I'll call this one spacebar, or just space. The spacebar. It's going to be a motion actuator. Call it jump. And again, we want to change it to a character motion. And when you change to a character motion, you'll notice that there's a little jump button down here. And all you have to do is activate your jump down here. And then when you do that, your jump speed or your jump force is over here actually in your character physics. So you can see my jump force is set to 10. And if I go ahead and press play, that's 10. Okay, so you can bump that up as much as you want. Maybe I'll bump that up to 14. Okay, and that feels a little more natural. Now the problem is that if I move forward and I press spacebar, you notice that I can only do one action at a time. I can only jump or move at a time. And when I jump, it stops the movement. So let me zoom in. So what you'll notice, let me zoom out, okay. So what you'll notice is down here in my jump actuator, along the location, there is a little button here that says Add, and that stands to additive or just add. And so what you should be able to do is, if you come here to location, if you turn that on, it should now be able to take the jump actuator and add it to the forward one, and you'll be able to do a running jump. So let me just try that on the forward one. I'm just curious if that works. Okay, so it doesn't work when you add it on the move. You have to add it on the jump actuator, and that makes your character be able to jump and move at the same time. So just note, so now you can see my character, I can steer it, and now I can spacebar and I can jump and move nice and smoothly. And that's pretty much it. I can come here, get into my camera view, and try not to mind the flickering. And I apologize, I don't have a very big world or environment, and it's not exciting at all, but that's pretty much it. Okay, that's it for this tutorial. I hope this helped you out, and it's definitely a process that you'll want to learn, that you'll want to memorize, because it's incredibly helpful for all of your characters as they develop and get more complex over time. Thank you very much, and I apologize for my voice. I think I'm getting a little sick. So I hope this helps, and I'll see you next time.